I'm with a friend of mine that I met through some other comrades in the voiceover industry.
Man Up with Mark. Mark talks about everything under the sun. You may agree with him, and again, you may not.
John Skovmand is a retired pharmacist, just like a previous guest of mine. So I thought John and I would get together and we would talk about shit that just comes off of our mind. So here he is, John Skovmand.
Well, thank you for that nice introduction, Mark.
Yeah, you know what? I worked on that really hard. So what do we get at? We wanted to talk about today. We wanted to talk about, you mentioned social interaction as retired people. Both John and ourselves are retired. And we want to talk about, how we handle social interaction now as retired people. So take off, John. Let me know your thoughts on that right now.
Okay, well, my wife still works. She's a few years younger than me, so she's not retired. And we do have two dogs. And they're okay for walking and getting some exercise, but not very intellectually stimulating when we try to have a conversation.
They don't talk to you too much. Huh?
No.
Surprising. Okay.
And so I came across this local group of guys. They're mostly all retired, and there's about 30 to 35 guys in this group, and it's been going on for a number of years. And they just get together once a month for social interaction. They have dinner and they have a speaker, and the speaker is usually like somebody from the county or from the local museum or things like that, or a utility company. Various folks. We toured the local jail. We had a contact with the sheriff that runs the jail.
Did you get locked up?
Gave us a tour. So most of our meetings are local. They're not road trips like that. But this is a way, at least once a month, to get together with some guys, roughly my same age, and just kind of shoot the bull and have some interaction and have a meal. And
that's neat. I'm in your same situation. I'm again retired, and my wife isn't. She's like your wife, a couple 3 years younger than I am. So yes, I'm making her still work because shit, somebody's got to pay the bills.
That's right.
But yeah, I actually kind of got into a group of guys that they get together once a week and they go play pool. And we all meet up at this pool hall in the area here, and we'll play pool for a couple of hours. And like we shoot the shit, and we might have a soda or an alcoholic beverage depending on what's preferred by different guys. But that's kind of fell into that group. Other than that, I was kind of like you, John. I'd walk the dog every night. We'd meet the people that walk their dogs. I did find there is a whole society of retired people that on a certain time of the day or night, they walk their dogs and they all get together in the streets and kibitz amongst each other. I don't know if that's the same as your area.
Well, we do have a park area just a couple of blocks from us. And so I do see a lot of the same folks, but it's mainly just, hi, how are you? And we really don't hang out or talk too much. But and then there's neighbors, and you say hi to your neighbors. But
if you like them,
yeah, yes.
Yeah,
So anyway, it'd be interesting to find out, maybe through comments on your podcast, what other folks in a similar situation are doing, because it gets lonely and hanging out at home, and you can only clean the bathtub so many times, and
that's right. I don't do that at all. I make my wife do that, even though she works. Yes, it's one of my conditions of our marriage is
uh,
I'll do everything and anything other than clean the bathroom.
oh, there you go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For the viewers out there, it was kind of funny when I met John. Again, it was through a little voiceover group that got together once a month, and we still get together once a month, even though myself, I've kind of given up the ghost on the voiceover work.
Well, and
But
so
we,
have I.
yes, yeah, we can talk about that for a little bit too. But
Yeah.
at any rate, come to find out after meeting John and getting together on the old Zoom calls once a month, he is lives in the Ventura, California area, and I lived there myself for about 3.5 years. And it's surprising. Out of that whole 3.5 years, we never met. It's just amazing. How does that happen?
I don't know. Probably because we were both working.
That's true. That's true. Yes. Yeah. And that is a funny thing. When you work, 8, 10 hours a day, sometimes 12 hours a day, all you can do is come home and go to sleep and go to work the next day.
Right.
I don't do that anymore.
No.
At any rate. All right. Cool. Well, okay. Speaking of the voiceover gig, I quit doing voiceover work. I myself was doing voiceover as a hobby for many years. I worked full time, like you did, John.
Hmm.
We had our full time careers. You were a drug pusher, and I bent nails. So
Yeah.
on the side, I did voiceover. For many many years. Never really did much with it. Always thinking that when I retire, that'd be kind of a good little gig, make a little extra money, not something that, you don't have to sweat your butt off doing, you just kind of sit in a room and record things. Yeah, you can make a few bucks that way. I learned that's not the case.
No, that is not the case. I retired in February of 2020. And then I picked up the voiceover thing just as the pandemic was getting going. And it was just a coincidence that happened to be when I retired. And so I've been at it this is my 5th year, and I'm just not making it. And I'm just kind of burned out from all the auditioning and not landing jobs. And so I decided I'll
What
just do
what made
something
you
else.
what made you get the bug to do voiceover when you decided to do it? What was that pivotal moment that, yeah,
Well,
I'm going to try this?
well, I did some acting in high school, and I've always wanted to, that was a dream to like be a TV or movie actor or something, and I knew that was never going to happen. And I saw an ad on Facebook, I think, some social media deal about voiceover classes. I said, well, that's something
Hmm.
that I can do at home, don't have to go anywhere. And so I took some training, and from one person and another and another. And I think I got fairly good at it, but I made some money on some Fiverr and Upwork, but never landed any big clients. And finally, after beating my head against the wall, I decided that's enough. I'm done.
Yeah, I actually got into it back when I owned my own construction company, and over the years, people kept on saying, geez, you've got a really pleasant voice. You should maybe think about, doing radio work. And I said, well, yeah, I do have a face for radio, don't I? but that's an old joke.
Yeah.
And I started looking into the voiceover stuff, and this was almost 20 years ago. This was 2005 when I
Uh,
started looking at it. And again, because I was working full time, I just dabbled in it. I like you, I took a few classes, I took some online courses, but in 2005 there really wasn't much out there as far as voiceover stuff.
yeah.
So, I just kind of muddled along, and as the industry grew, I kind of kept on going with it, and it it got to the point where it was kind of a never-ending. You need to take classes, you need to be coached, you need to do this and that constantly, which of course costs a lot of money. It's
Right.
not cheap.
Right.
And besides that, you have to update your demos, which costs money. And
Hmm.
then you have to constantly do marketing, and you constantly have to do all of this and that. And by the time I retired and was thinking about going quasi full time with the voiceover, I got to the point, and it takes me a little time to figure things out. I'm slow. I realized I don't want to work that hard at this anymore.
Yeah.
I worked hard for 50 years
Yeah.
doing what I did in my you know construction business. And what's funny is what I did find out. I don't know if you had the same thought, John, as far as the people in the voiceover business that seem to be making it,
Hmm.
and I use that term seem to be, they make it sound like they're doing well. Who knows? But they always seem that they had a connection in the radio industry or the TV industry or something like that that was kind of a catalyst to throw them into the voiceover business, to get more better work through little marketing because they already had connections and they knew people. Uh,
Mm.
what's your thoughts on that?
Uh, I really don't know.
Yeah,
There's some folks that started about the same time I did. That I know one guy in particular. He quit his job and he's doing it full time. And he lives back east, and he's doing a bang up job. I'm very proud of him. But
what
it just
what's
didn't hit
his
for me.
what's his genre? I mean, what does he mainly work in?
He has a southern accent, and at first he was trying to lose it, but then he just started to capitalize on it,
Yeah,
and he does commercials and auto stuff for dealers, and he's just kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to that. Does not do audiobooks,
yeah.
but he does almost anything else. And
What did he do? Do you know what he did before he did voiceover?
he worked for a at an auto plant. He was a manager at a auto manufacturer.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I just found it was weird. I kind of harkened back when I got into the construction business, and when I had my own construction company. It wasn't hard for me to find business because I had connections through previous work that I did in the commercial maintenance and the property management industry in the area that I lived, which
Yeah.
was the Phoenix, Arizona area. I had so many connections in that when I started my own business, I didn't have to do marketing,
Yeah.
and I had been in construction basically all my life, so I knew how to bend a nail and then pull the nail out. So, I mean, it was not hard for me to find work. In fact, I had to turn work down.
Yeah.
So I think that's what discouraged me. I found work so easy in the construction industry. I had more work than I knew what to do with. And
Yeah.
then when I wanted to do this voiceover thing, even though I had a pretty good demo and I had a website and I, took all the training and I did everything you're supposed to do,
Yep.
trying to land a decent gig and find clients that were steady.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like pulling teeth. I don't know. I mean, your demo that I listened to and your website and everything, I thought, Jesus, this is super professional, really
Um,
awesome.
well, thank you. They did cost a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it takes a lot of money to look like you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it worked. I mean, it looked
Yeah.
great.
Well,
But
that reminds me of the quote from Dolly Parton. It takes a lot of money to look this cheap.
there you go.
Yeah.
That's nice. I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, but anyway,
Yeah.
obviously the voiceover gig for both of us just didn't work.
Didn't pan out.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
and speaking of radio, back in the 80s, I was an announcer on a local radio station while
Huh.
at nights and weekends.
Yeah.
Just try and that there's no money in that,
No.
but
No.
it was fun, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I found out too. When I had all of these friends and relatives and people saying, you should look into radio, and so I did. I did look into radio, and I saw what you had to do, the hours you had to work, and the money that you made. And I said, oh, no, I make more money than that right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Being on the radio might, stroke your ego because your voice is out there in the world, but
Yeah,
it doesn't pay the bills.
nope.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Nice. All right. Well, so there we go. Here's that was a little story from two guys that were failures in voiceover. So that might be a comment that some of you people out there in the podcast land might want to throw us. Give us your comments on the voiceover industry. What you think of it. Have you been successful? Have you been a flop like us? or anything in that realm. That would be neat.
Cool.
All right. So, guys and gals, thanks for watching. What I'd like you to do is subscribe and ring the bell. Wait a minute, I screwed that up. Try liking it first, then subscribing, and then ringing the goddamn bell. That's what you're supposed to do. And like always, I'm going to beg you. In fact, John told me that I should give some sort of reward if I want you people to donate to my Patreon. I'm working on that idea. Something special I can give to you if you throw money at me. Throw money at patreon.com/manupwithmark. And John, I promise, I'm going to figure out something to give people. Okay, well,
Alrighty.
that's all we're going to talk about today. And hang on, John. But the rest of you out there, see ya.
If you have a question or comment, email Mark at manupwithmark.com.